Recording in progress.
So there was a time in my life where I had recovered from my very traumatic event of New Year's Eve 1994, where my boyfriend tried to kill me. And now flash forward about a decade, right? And, I'd been dating a bit, and I will say, like, my last few boyfriends before this guy, they were all good men. They were nice men. They weren't abusive. They weren't bad. They weren't narcissists. They weren't manipulative. They were just nice guys.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out for one reason or another. And I think when I got to a place where I felt like whole and complete and healthy and ready for lasting love, it was sort of frustrating because I'd have these like short-term relationships, like 3 months and 5 months and 8 months and oh my gosh, 14 months. I thought, oh, that might be it,
Right.
And then I realized that I was getting like weary. Like I was starting to think, gosh, maybe this really isn't in the cards for me, because going through a breakup can be so incredibly painful. And I really had to dig in and like restore my own faith. And the lowest of the lows were pretty low. And I don't really want to share all the details about them. If you have specific questions, I'm happy to answer them. But I really wanted to like radio this out to all of you that if you're looking for a sign that you are supposed to have a great love life, this is your sign. That we're here tonight telling you deserve it. You don't have to work so hard and trying to earn it, that you can get that love, that lasting love that you really desire simply by being you and by keeping the faith. And that's what we really want to share with you tonight, because I know my lowest of the low was pretty darn low. And what I want you all to know is we're sitting here today, not because everything between us went so smooth. I mean, we could spend a lot of time talking about all the things that went wrong, but we figured it out anyway.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, we didn't meet in college or high school or shortly thereafter.
No.
We didn't start dating until we were both 40, so in our 40s. And it's this thing where I think sometimes you start to get weary. And we're in the season of spring here in the Northern Hemisphere. I know down south you're in the fall, but for the better part of the population on planet Earth, this is a time of renewal. And so we want to help you renew your faith.
You reminded me, there was a time I had this intense 2-week relationship with this woman, and then she broke up with me.
Ouch.
Exactly. And I was like, at that point, I had decided that maybe I should just stop dating, stop even, seeing people and everything.
Been
And so I stopped. I literally was celibate for like a couple of years.
Somebody's saying they can't hear anything. Ah!
Yeah. Our microphone's working, so it must be something with her, the way her setup is.
I'm gonna say that. So can somebody type in the chat that they can hear?
Our team member says she can hear us fine.
Okay, great.
So I literally was like celibate for a couple of years. I didn't date anybody. I didn't do anything. I just sort of focused on my own personal growth, focused on my own spiritual path, focused on the work I was doing on myself. And at some point towards the end of that time, I had started working with a life coach.
Ah, yes.
And she was helping me out with a lot of different things. And she just said to me one day, you need to start dating. In fact, I'm going to challenge you. You have to get on a dating site and you have to start dating again. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did. I signed up for eHarmony at the time and I started going on dates. And I started going on dates with the most random people, right? It was just like anybody who we connected, we would go on a date. I wasn't looking for my soulmate. I wasn't,
You're just looking to meet people.
I was just looking to meet people. I had so many fascinating first and second dates with people that were just people I wouldn't normally ever meet or ever talk to. So I think about that time in my life because it was about saying, hey, I got to put myself back out there and I've got to step back into faith.
I mean, there's a time to take a break. I mean, I'll be honest, I wasn't the best dater. Ooh, I'm going to just lay it all out there. I mean, part of the reason why we feel we're qualified to do this is because we made most of the mistakes people can make. And I wasn't great at dating for most of my adult life, hence being single till after 40. But, and you know, look, I keep saying till after 40, but we've had a lot of clients lately, particularly in their 60s and 70s, that haven't dated hardly at all for a decade or two even. And so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you've been dating a ton. It doesn't matter if you've been dating not at all. It doesn't matter if you've ever been married, you're divorced, you're widowed, you're separated, whatever it is. What we want you to know is that nobody ever gets what they want if they quit. So you have to be clear on what it is you want. Because for me, it happened through a spiritual awakening. I started meditating. I had a great job. Every part of my life was great, actually. It was humming along. I was making good money. I loved my work. I was really satisfied. And yet, when I started meditating, and I committed to meditating every single morning, I got in this habit of asking myself, what do I really want? Like at the end of meditation, like in that peaceful silence when I was tapped in. And I thought, what do I really want? And the answer that would come to me was love. And the first time that came to me, I was like, oh gosh, no. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do it. And it was freaked me out because what I realized was that I really, really wanted this thing that I had no idea how to do. And we talk to so many people, and I know there's so many times people say things like, well, you can't control another person, because they get really attached that love has to come from this one person. I mean, I spent decades and so many years pining over Mr. Baseball. We're just going to call him Mr. Baseball. Matthew knows who this is. I dated a professional baseball player, folks. Woo, whatever. I mean, honestly, they're, you know, instead of their batting average, it should say, like, you know, likes redheads, there's an opening in Cincinnati. I don't know. It seemed like there was a gal in every town. You know, I happened to live where he lived, so, yeah, that was kind of nice. But the dealio is that when I really decided that I wanted love, I didn't have to be so attached to who it specifically was coming from. And that doesn't mean that I didn't have criteria, right? It doesn't mean that I didn't have a particular criteria that I was looking for, but it meant that I wasn't attached to having this thing work out with person A or person B or person D or E or F or Z. Right. That suddenly I was open and I was like, well, if I want to have lasting love, I've got to figure that out with somebody else. A, who wants that? Who has that goal in life, and also that we connect and that we have this, you know, connection. And the thing is if I were to give up, if I were to have given up, I think about the fact that you and I were in the same networking meeting at least once a month for over a year and never talked to each other. Right. And I think
we joke that we're just terrible networkers.
Yeah, I mean, we'd never talked to each other. And then, but I was online dating, and I was dating a lot in the summer before you and I connected through the networking group. I was doing a ton of dating. I mean, I remember there was a weekend I had a date on a Friday night, a Saturday night, a Sunday night, and a Monday night, all first dates, all 4 different guys that I met at different places, some online, some IRL. And so the thing is, when you decide that you want something, you don't quit. You might take a break. And so what I started to say was I would take a break. I took a break from Thanksgiving through all the holidays, all of December, all of January. I would take my profiles down. I'm not saying this is a good idea. This was bad protocol. I took my profiles down from Thanksgiving till after Valentine's Day. Because I thought anybody that's really, you know, I jumped in. I was so bad at going slowly. And I knew already that I needed to go slowly. So I wouldn't self-abandon. That I wouldn't let go of Orna and merge with somebody and just like, oh, you want to do that? Okay. Like a puppy dog, you know. Okay, you know, trying to earn love.
You're not a puppy dog.
But I was like a puppy dog, trying to earn love. And I mean, I don't think puppy dogs try to earn love, but I think I was like, will you love me? You know, I just really was, because I had emptiness inside of me for so long that I thought somebody else would fill. And so that's a subject we've talked a lot about on these love interventions. And tonight I want to talk about keeping the faith. So I'm going to stay on topic here. And we're taking your questions. And by the way, we should introduce ourselves.
Yes.
Okay, you're going to go first tonight.
I am Matthew Walters.
And hello, everybody. I'm Orna Walters. And this is Love Intervention.
We are here to intervene in your love life, get you off the path of heartache and heartbreak and on the path to long-lasting, soul-satisfying love. So you make me think of another story. At this time when I started dating again, I started doing things I wouldn't normally do. I started stepping out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
And so, for example, I had went to a party that was associated with the job I had at the time. And there was a bunch of work people there, and they're all very funny people. And there's this whole group of guys who, you sit around and everybody cracks jokes and it's like a competition. And normally I would sort of hang in that group because it's a lot of fun. But this night I was like, I don't want to sit and crack jokes. That doesn't seem interesting. And so I looked around and there was this little tent, gazebo thing in the backyard set up. And there were these two women sitting in there talking. So I just went over and sat down and started talking with them. And we started having a great time. And one of them was the girlfriend of one of the guys in that other group. And another one was her friend who was single. And
ooh, look at that.
Yeah.
Mr.
And so,
Bingo.
we started flirting. We had a good time. And, I didn't pursue anything at the time because I was just having fun. But when I showed up at work on Monday, the guy who was, the boyfriend of the other girl, he goes, so-and-so was really into you. In fact, here's her number, and gave me her card.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yep. Now, the funny thing was, I called her 3 times, and she never called me back. But that's beside the point, right? That's not the point. Sometimes we get attached with the thing, right? I could have got attached with this particular woman who gave me her card and said, why isn't she calling me back? Did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong? How do I get her to call me, right? But that wasn't the point. The point was I was stepping out of my comfort zone, doing something that I wouldn't normally do, and just sort of sending a signal out to the universe to say, hey, I'm open, I'm willing, I'm going to try whatever I need to try in order to get this love thing happening in my life. And, whether it's this or something else, it doesn't matter, because I'm just going to keep trying. And that's part of what we want you to understand, right? Is you get attached to a profile, or you go on a good date and you get attached to a particular person and you go, well, this one's got to work. But that's not how it works.
No, we say all the time that the love you seek is inside of you. And we had a friend over a couple weeks ago, and we made that comment. She's in her 60s. She was married. She's divorced, and she's been single a long time, not dating very much. And she said, well, that's easy for you to say. You have each other. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And we were like, that's so weird. I don't think it's easy for us to say at all, because we have so much compassion for all of you who are single, who are trying to figure it out. It's why we do what we do.
Yeah,
we wouldn't have this business if we didn't care about the journey you're on.
We've been there.
We've been there when it felt like, oh my gosh, I really don't know how to do this. I'm doing it wrong. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to pick somebody. I thought my picker was broken. I didn't think I was too terribly, not too stuck, I guess. I really felt sad. And there were plenty of times that I felt hopeless. And there were so many times and so many nights that I felt lonely and sad. And I didn't know what to really do to come out of that except to keep going. Because when I imagined being on my own, I knew I'd be okay. I knew I'd be okay. But what I knew was that in my heart, I knew I was supposed to share my life with someone. And when I thought it had to be a specific person, those are the times that I was the most hurt and the most upset. And so I decided to let all of those unrealistic expectations go. It's like if you skipping to the end of the book. Who wants to admit that when they start reading a book, they'll skip to the end? I'm not that person. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way to read a book. I'm just saying if I don't skip to the end.
No.
I want to go on the
I like
journey.
the mystery. I like the discovery.
I want to go on the journey. And so when I realized if I'm supposed to be alone for my entire life and not really have a great love life, I'll survive. But I knew when that message came day after day after day at the close of my meditations, I'd say, what do I really want? Love. I wanted love. And I mean, I almost wanted to vomit the first time that I got that message because that was so terrifying for me because I didn't know how to do it. And I heard a song that I get all sappy about earlier today. And I'm going to tell you why I kept going and I never gave up my faith. Because when I was a little girl, it was The Other Star Is Born that came out in the 70s with Barbra Streisand and Chris Christopherson. And I know every word. I know the lyrics to every single song on that album. I used to play it day and night and day. And in that finale song, where after he's, the male character, the lead has died.
Right.
And she's now, a big star. And she's singing and she sings the lyric, when you look at me, I'm gonna cry. When you look at me, I'm everything and more than I dreamed I'd be. And it doesn't mean that that I can't, that I'm, half a person and Matthew's my other half, because I don't believe that.
Right.
But I believe that as two whole people coming together, that we're better together. And so when Matthew looks at me, I do feel like he makes me want to be a better person. You do. And so I wanted to be in relationship with somebody who lightened me up. Like I can get really serious and sappy, as you're seeing right now. And I knew that I needed somebody that could get me to laugh at myself, even in those times where there's struggle, right? I knew that I wanted somebody who could make me laugh, even at myself, and that wouldn't take things so seriously when, things are tough. But I also wanted somebody who wasn't always cracking a joke and that could be sincere. And these are the kind of qualities that I started to pay attention to. Like, how do I want somebody to show up when there's trouble, when there's stress? How do I want to be with somebody, when somebody close to me dies? Can somebody handle my emotional self, because I wear my heart on my sleeve and I can't just fake it. I don't know how to do that. And so when I started to pay attention through my dating life, who was showing up and who stuck around instead of who just scampered away, everything changed because I knew that I was supposed to share my life with somebody. And so be clear. When you're clear on what you want, you can ride the roller coaster of your ups and your downs without being attached to the highs or the lows. And when you stay with that person, I wish we had taken better notes. I know that we didn't know we would have this work together. We had no idea that this would be our work together. But there was an argument. There was a big fight that we had at some point. And I remember Matthew looking at me and he said, "This is when I'd usually leave. And I'm not going anywhere."
Yeah, I remember that night. Yeah, because I had made a decision that this was my person. And so I was going to push through my resistance. I was going to push through my stuff. There's something you said. There's a phrase you used in two different ways. And I want to talk about this phrase. The first thing you said was, well, if I'm supposed to be alone, right? And then you said, well, I'm supposed to have love. And it's this supposed to, I think, is a really interesting word. Oftentimes we use the phrase meant to be. Well, it's not meant to be, or well, I guess it was meant to be, right? And,
or if it doesn't work out, it wasn't meant to be.
Right. And all of that, whether it's supposed to be or meant to be or fated or however you want to think about it, it puts your power outside of you. There is no higher power, no universe, no God, no whatever you call that, no force, right? That is saying, you get love, but you don't. And you get love, but you don't.
Yeah, there's no higher power doling out love like cards at the poker table.
It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like
Yeah,
that. It is all about what you want to create and what you're willing to do to get it. When we were talking earlier about what we wanted to talk about tonight, Orna said, nobody remembers the people who gave up.
It's true.
Right? Nobody remembers the people who gave up. whether they were actors or athletes or writers or whatever they were doing. We don't remember the ones who didn't follow through on what they really wanted. And nobody is going to see that great relationship that you give up on.
Nope.
Right? And if you're sitting at home expecting somebody to come knock on your door and climb the walls and get through your cynicism and your hurt and see the real beautiful butterfly that's hiding inside, I mean, you're asking a lot.
Especially in this day and age.
You're asking a lot of another person, right? There's a lot of people in the world, and so how many of us are willing to do all that work because of one specific person? So, and I don't say that you're not worth somebody climbing the walls and finding a hidden butterfly.
But they don't know you
why
yet.
are you making it so hard?
Yeah,
right.
Don't
why
make
are
it
you
hard.
setting so many obstacles in the way of getting what you want? So it is about renewing your faith. Part of it is about taking an action and letting go of the result. Because so many people, they go, well, I signed up on, Match.com and I didn't find anybody that I liked. And the only people who reached out to me were fake or they were scammers. And so I guess
it's not meant to be.
I guess it's not meant to be.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like you have to look past that. I like to think of it this way. The universe is constantly testing us, and it's testing us to say, do you really want what you say you want?
Yep.
And I'm going to put some obstacles in your way on the journey to you getting what you want to keep testing you to say, do you really want it? Are you sure? Are you sure you want that? Are you sure you want that?
Yep.
Because, this is easier or this is less painful. And so it really is about you saying, you know what? I do want this. Like Orna's sitting in that meditation saying, what do I really want? What do I really want from life? I want love. Ooh, that scares me. Okay, but I guess I have to do that anyway.
All right. That's what I really want.
I guess if that's what I really want, that's what I got to go for.
Yeah. And so those guys that I dated before Matthew, it's not like they were bad men in any way, shape, or form, but they were my guy, right? And so I want you to keep the faith because you are making a choice to renew your faith. Because it all comes down to a choice. It comes down to a choice that you say, well, I can either go without or I can keep pushing through. And in business all the time we hear, right, how people overcome obstacles and this didn't go well and that didn't go well. And we think, we bow out of it in our love life because we say things like, oh, we can't control another person. Well, of course you can't control another person, but you have 100% control over yourself. I hear there's this story that I heard in an interview that Lady Gaga told, the other stars, actress, right?
Yeah.
And Lady Gaga was saying about how she went through this really painful breakup when she was much younger. And she really thought that was going to be her guy. And he broke up with her. And she knew she'd be a star. She's looked at him. And when he broke up with her, she said, okay, but just remember, there's going to be a time when you won't get away from seeing my face or hearing my name. Can you imagine? You're going to remember this moment because you're going to remember over and over and over that you chose to leave me. And it's true. Her face is everywhere. Her name is everywhere. And I'm not saying you have to, go find love as vengeance, or whatever. I'm not saying that at all. Although there are a few people that hurt me pretty bad that I think, oh, I wonder if you Googled me. And honestly, a lot of the guys that did break up with me, that hurt me pretty badly, those guys that were good men, most of them came back around, and I didn't take them back for one reason or another.
I'm sure there's some women out there who are going, really, that guy is a relationship expert?
Yeah, you are though.
Because yes, but I wasn't really good at relationship when I was younger. I had what some people would describe as toxic behaviors. And I was a mess and I needed to clean up. And that's the other piece about renewing your faith is you have to realize that maybe from where you are right now, you're not ready to get it. And that's okay. And that part of you have to be honest with yourself is like, look, am I ready? Or do I need to do some more healing? Is there more forgiveness work I need to do? Do I need to clear off the cynicism of my, that's crusted all over my heart, that's blocking me from even seeing available partners, right? Do I need to get rid of the fear or the hurt or the anger that I've been carrying around about things that didn't work? And so maybe that's where you are. And if we want to give you faith, it's to say you can heal those parts of you. You can get rid of that cynicism or that pain or that hurt, and you can get back in touch with your true state of who you really are. I mean, we fully believe that as human beings, we are the physical embodiment of the energy of love. That is who we're meant to be in the world. That is what all the spiritual traditions teach us, right? And that is what we're here to do with other people, is to share that love. And you know, it's not just romantic love, it's all forms of love. And so really it's about taking that next step and saying, okay, so where am I right now? Maybe I'm not ready to date. Maybe I have to heal. But what is the next step I need to do?
In my healing.
In my healing.
Yeah. And I do want to give you guys something to do, but we're going to introduce ourselves again in case anybody joined us late. Hello, everybody. And we also are streaming into our YouTube channel. So if you're there, click the little bell so you subscribe and know when you're doing before. We're on our Facebook page. And you know what? We're on a new format here. We're running a new system today.
Yeah.
But it's going to work the same way. So the panelist is our team. And thanks, team. They're going to port over any questions from YouTube or Facebook. So if you have questions, you can do that there. And Facebook, give us a like and all that stuff. And by the way, I'm Orna Walters.
And I'm Matthew Walters. And this is Love Intervention. We're here to intervene in your love life, to get you off the path of heartbreak and frustration and back on the path to the long-lasting love you desire.
So I want to give you all an assignment. If you're feeling like, oh gosh, how do I restore my faith in love? I want to give you an assignment that you go out in the world, book out some time this weekend and make it a nice chunk of time and either go for a walk or sit at a cafe. And I want you to look around at all the people around you and see all the different forms of love that show up that you see other people enjoying, right? Maybe somebody stops to open the door for the person they're with. Or maybe you see a couple on a date. Or maybe you see an old couple walking down the street where they're almost holding each other up, right? With their arms wrapped around each other. And they're almost like, you know, they're stopping traffic. They're going so slow, right? But they're holding on to each other tightly. Or maybe you see somebody just loving up their dog and giving their dog a treat, right? That when you are low on faith, you've got to fill up on faith wherever you can get it. And I've done this exercise because there were so many low points, trust me. But I was like, I don't want to give up. And so I remember I was sitting at like outside this little like yogurt shop, like a Minchie's or whatever. And I saw these high school kids show up. And they were clearly on a date. It was so cute. Like he opened the door for her and she went in and they were so young and cute and adorable and asking each other, you know, oh, what do you think you're going to get? And they were on a little yogurt date.
I like it.
Yogurt date night. And I just want to say that when you are feeling low, fill up the faith. Because I know that when I was low, when I was at a low point, and I was single and I saw people figuring it out, right? It wasn't in my own house, right? It wasn't with, you know, particularly my own family because I didn't like the way they did it. I mean, they were a mess. I think my parents really hated each other. It baffles me how they ever got married. And I think that I had to go outside of that. You know, I had to go find it other places. And so I would look and I would fill up on that and fill your faith up on seeing people show their love. And here's another way to renew your faith. Here's an exercise. I can't help but coach. So we're going to answer your questions though pretty soon.
Yeah.
So
before you say that, can I just share a couple comments? So Anne,
I don't want to forget it.
Okay,
no.
go ahead. Sorry.
No,
go
don't
for it.
interrupt me because I don't. I'm like,
you got it.
You think you knocked it out of my brain already? I was going to give an assignment. That's what happens when
the first thing was renew your faith by looking for love in the world.
And there was a second one.
The second one, it'll come back.
Shake fist.
Sorry, I get excited. So Anne said earlier, and I think this is when you were sharing about your vulnerability, she said, thanks for sharing that, Orna. That gives me hope for real lasting love. And then she says later, I love that, the physical embodiment of the energy of love. Love is bigger than fear. Amen to that. That is true. Love is so much bigger than fear. And please type in the chat about where you're joining us from. We'd love to hear from all of you. We definitely see there's quite a few people on this call.
We like to send our hearts out to all of you. And we
want to know where to send that energy. So share with us where you are.
And you just reminded me what I was going to say.
Oh, good.
Here's another assignment to renew your faith in love. Because I always felt like I had so much love to give. But I wasn't so good at receiving the love. And you know what I mean. Somebody gives you a compliment, you brush it off. Oh, this whole thing, no, nothing. Oh, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to exercise your receiving muscles if you want to bring in love. Why do we go to the gym? We go to the gym for resistance. Because I can do this with my arms. My arms don't weigh that much. But if I put weights in my arms, and I've got resistance, I'm now building muscle. And so we want you to exercise your receiving muscles. I feel like Popeye. I'm going to get some spinach. So I do love spinach, though. So here's the thing. Instead of being so focused on, I have so much love to give, I want you to exercise your receiving muscles by thinking about what you want to receive. What do you want to receive from your beloved? How would you want that person how would you want them to behave when you're sick, when you have a cold? How would you want that person to behave when there's a disagreement, right? What's the dynamic that you want between the two of you? I know when Matthew and I first read our wedding vows, we got married at our spiritual center. If anybody's familiar with the Self-Realization Fellowship, SRF. We got married at their Lakeshine Temple because it's down the street from where we live. It is the crown jewel temple in the organization. I always feel so blessed to live so close by and to be blessed to be married there. And that's also a self-realization path, right? It's not something that you do with another person. It's something you do on your own. And I think that exercising your receiving muscle that way is so important. Because we're hard on ourselves. And so you have to be good at receiving love from yourself and others. And I think that's such an important point. I'm going to say it again.
Yeah.
You have to get really good if you want to restore your faith in love. You got to get good at receiving love from yourself and from others. And so one way to love yourself up is to be kind and compassionate and forgiving with yourself. Because I know, as a recovering perfectionist, that one of the things that I know we both teared up and we talked about a lot when we first read our wedding vows. And they were written by our guru, and we had the appointment there to get married at the Lakeshine Temple, and they gave us the vows, and they left us alone to read through them. And one of them is...
always in forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always in forgiveness. Always in forgiveness. And that doesn't excuse away bad behavior, so let's set that aside.
Right.
Okay? Because always...
doesn't mean you put up with toxic behavior. It just means that you don't hold on to the hurt and pain of it. You move on. Right?
Yeah.
You forgive, but sometimes maybe don't forget. So I want to share...
We've got some people here.
Yes, we got...
where are we from? We have Stephanie in Wilmington, North Carolina. We have Ariana in Dublin, California. Daniel from Colorado. Susan in North Florida. Right on, y'all.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, and
I
also,
said y'all like I'm from the South.
Exactly. Please, if you have any questions about any part of your love life, any way that we can help you, please type that into the chat.
There's a
hold
little
on.
thing
The
here.
mouse is being weird.
There's a thing there.
Oh, that's from earlier.
Oh, okay.
My mouse is not cooperating.
Uh-oh. Do you need a mouse pad?
Probably.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Try it over here. That's just from earlier.
That's from earlier. Okay. All right. So where are your questions? Oh, I think we have one.
Yes, we do have one from Sarah, and we're going to get to Sarah's question here first, but anyone else have any questions about love, dating, relationship, anything about your relationships?
It can be about tonight.
It can be about what we're talking about tonight. It can be about something that's going on in your life currently. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight. Please feel free. This is your opportunity to ask us any questions. So,
I mean, this is our give back. I just want to let you know we started doing this in a private group on Facebook in 2020 when the world shut down and the global pandemic, and we knew that our community felt lonely. And then we started just as a give. We wanted to make it bigger. And so this is really like this is like, I don't want to say charity time, but in a sense it is.
Yeah.
It's like, this is us wanting to give you our time. So please take the opportunity to ask us any questions that you may have. It can be related to tonight's topic, but it doesn't have to. And tonight's topic is renewing your faith in love. And the way you renew your faith is you get clear on what it is you want. I wanted to share my life with someone. I wanted lasting love. Yep. I didn't want another boyfriend.
Nope.
I didn't want another person that was like hanging out, chilling, Mr. Convenient, as we like to call them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Mr. Convenience. I'm sure
and misconvenience as well.
Misconvenience, yes.
I've dated those.
Yep.
So let's get to our questions. We have this question's from Sarah. Sarah's currently, she's coaching with us. And so her questions come through the guise of the coaching. She says this: how much should I tell my dates about getting coaching or following a program like yours? For example, I feel like the guys I go on first and second dates with are often confused or even offended if I try to leave after an hour, even if I go out of my way to tell them how much I'm enjoying the conversation and want to continue another time. Should I tell them in advance that I like to keep early dates, short as a rule? And she has a little follow-up to this. Now that I'm seeing someone I've really clicked with, I'm having trouble articulating why I'm putting the brakes on. The real explanation is because Orna and Matthew said I should. Should I say that? Should I show them your websites?
All right, I'm going to start by answering Sarah's question saying, Sarah, you're a grown-up, and the choices you make while dating are because you're making them, not because somebody told you to do them. So no, you are not to share because Orna and Matthew said so, or share our website, even though it would be delightful if that person, needs our help. But more importantly, we're here to help you. Number one, there seems to be a bit of a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Do you want to clear that up?
Yeah, so we always say first meet. The first time you meet somebody in person in real life, if you've connected with them on an app or on a website, that first meet should be short. It'd be about an hour, hour and a half at the most, because you're just looking to see, is this a person that is...
Are they who they say they are?
Are they who they say they are? Is there any interest there at all? Right? And so your first meet shouldn't be a big date. But now, second date can be a date. You can go out to dinner. You can go, you can go for a hike all day.
Yeah, so I think,
you can have a picnic.
I think there was some misunderstanding.
Concert,
so
right?
First meet, first date, in other words, and that, maybe you met the person at a party and you don't really know them. Still, the first date should be a short, about an hour, hour and a half.
Right.
So after that, there isn't a time limit thing. So I think we wanted to clear that up, number one. And number two, the thing about having new dating strategies is to be, we always say to be authentic. And so I very much practiced doing this when I was single, and I had to get better at it. And one of the things is to say, I have an agreement with myself about going slowly, right? I have an agreement with myself that I'm going to continue dating other people. I'm not ready to be intimate yet because sex means exclusivity, and we're still strangers. So I'm not ready for exclusivity or sex. But oh my gosh, it's going to be really hot when we do. So there's lots of ways. If somebody is getting offended, I always find that interesting. Where Sarah says, guys are getting offended that you're wanting to keep it short, and I'm like, well, they're not in it for the long. They're looking for something convenient, and you're not making it convenient for them. That's their offense. You're not going along with the program because they just wanted to have sex, no strings attached, girl, or whatever it is. I mean, I'm just filling in the blanks.
They're looking to hook up quickly.
With the most obvious, right?
Right.
So if you're putting in these parameters where they have to be in it for a relationship to then get to the sex, oh my goodness, yeah, a guy who's just looking for sex, he's going to certainly be offended. Now, that doesn't mean that they're only looking for sex. They may not understand. So I'm going to give you a really great example from our client, Amarette, and you can actually go to our website at loveonpurpose.com. If you haven't looked at all of those videos, there's several testimonial videos and more coming because they're still being edited on our new website. So if you go there, click the more testimonials right there on the homepage and look for an Asian gal. Her name is Amarette. And Amarette got married last fall. And one of the things she said to us, and I'm not sure if it's actually the clip that's in her video, but I'm going to tell you right off the bat that she had a really hard time not rushing in. And one of her strategies was to merge and do all that stuff and lose herself, abandon herself, self-abandonment. So She started dating the guy she's now married to. She said, I'm not going exclusive. I'm going to be dating a bunch of people. And his response was something like, that's weird. Because her thing to us was Asian people don't do that. And we said, well, Caucasian people don't do that necessarily either. Most people don't do that. Most people rush in the minute somebody wants to go exclusive, they take themselves off the market.
Right.
Or they don't, whether they communicate it about or not, they have a good date and they take their profile down or they hide it or whatever. So we're saying don't rush in and do slow love. So the key to slow love is to communicate, I'm doing slow love. Not because Orna and Matthew told you to, but because you're doing it differently because you have an agreement with yourself to do slow love. See?
Yeah.
So back to Amarette really quick.
Okay.
I don't know if I made it really clear, so let me spell it out for you. She said to the man she's married to when they first started dating, I'm going to be dating other people too. But I really like, I'm enjoying getting to know you. I just want you to know you're not the only guy I'm seeing. And he was like, well, that's kind of weird, but I like you, so I'll put up with it kind of thing. And they're now married, however many years later that it took for them to progress in slow love to know that they're the right match. You don't know after 1 date or 2 dates or 3 dates or 5 dates or 6 dates or a dozen dates if that's your person. And there's a big difference between making a lifelong commitment to somebody and exclusivity, meaning you're not dating anyone else. So if you're confused about that, go look at the last love intervention because we cleaned that up right there in the one 2 weeks ago.
All right. So another thing, this idea of wanting to, share with these guys that you're getting coaching and maybe even send them to our website so they can get coaching as well. I get it's well-meaning and everything, but it's not serving you. Like Orna said, you're an adult. You can take responsibility for your decisions. You're making a decision to follow our suggestions about how to approach dating. It's your decision. We have clients who don't follow our coaching, right? Now, they don't get the results, but, they're adults because they get to make the decisions they want to make, and so are you, Sarah. I would say this, though. We had another client who liked to share what she was learning with the guys she was dating. She liked to coach them to help them get better at being in a relationship with her. And it was this whole strategy she had of trying to prove how worthy she was.
Her value
in a relationship. And part of that was being a coach to these guys. And that's not the relationship you want. Look, both of us are master coaches. We both have tons of skills that we use in coaching. I have my specific skill set. Orna has hers. One thing we never do is we do not coach each other. If one of us has an issue about something we need to work on for ourselves, we go find somebody to work with who's an expert in that thing. Because we're coaches, we know we always need coaching. We always need to be better. But we don't coach each other because that's not what this relationship is. This relationship is a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
Now, we have another aspect to it that we work together, so we have that.
That's
part,
a whole nother conversation.
Right? We do our best to try to keep those separate, but sometimes they don't get that way. However, we keep the power dynamic between us about a love relationship, not about I'm here because Orna, I can help you with that thing. So let me do. No, doesn't feel good at all. Right? Doesn't feel good at all.
Sorry, I gotta go now.
It's just not the right dynamic. So I hope that answers your questions.
I hope so too.
We
have a great comment or question. So Daniel says, it seems like the activities I'm involved in is mainly women. I'm out there, but where are the men?
It's
Danielle. I thought it was Daniel. Sorry, that's me with trying to read without, I can't see that tiny font. Okay. You're going out. The activities that you're involved in mostly is a bunch of women together, but where are the men? So here's the thing. Where are the men? That's always, I think, such a funny question because it's not like all the available men are hanging out at a Starbucks on a Thursday only if the moon is full. Like, that's just not a thing, Danielle. So if you can totally enjoy activities, but look, you have to decide if you want love, then you have to go and meet men, right? So you can pick a friend and go to an event where there's a lot of men and have a wing woman. So like I know my friends used to always have me as their wing woman because I talk to people all the time. And so they'd invite me to all kinds of things. Like there's a ball game on, let's go to a bar and watch the game. And they go, Orna, you want to go and watch the game? And I go, Sure, and if it's baseball, I'm going to actually be watching the game. So they usually took me to something I wasn't that interested in, like a basketball or football. And then I would be talking to somebody, and then I can introduce them to my friend. Bingo! They're now talking to the guy they wanted to talk to because Big Mouth Orna here will talk to anybody. So you can always get a wing woman. The other thing about all those women at those activities, here's the deal, Danielle. Every single person that you meet knows people you haven't met yet. So instead of going, wow, there's a bunch of women here, I'm going to turn around and leave, start talking to those ladies. They've got brothers, they got uncles, they got bosses, they got
exes.
They got all kinds of people that they know. What if you just went to they're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to this other thing next weekend. Pile up, make a new friend. It opens up your friend pool to then meet their friends. Do you get it? So it doesn't matter. But you have to put the time in.
Right. And you got to realize that if you're going to like personal growth events or other things that men do, a lot of men do that very differently. And so they're not going to be at the same kind of event that you're at.
Yes.
Right. So maybe it's more, real estate or entrepreneurial events or things like that. Orna tells a story about going to the golf range.
The driving range.
The driving range with her friends, right? And she couldn't golf at all. So here are all these guys stepping up to try to teach her how to golf.
Oh, no, you don't understand. My friends were really good because they played with their dads when they were little kids. And one of them, was almost on, the women's the WPGA or whatever. She was really, Stacy was really good. And that's why we ended up going to the driving range. And so they're like, you want to go to the driving range? There's lots of men there. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I had no freaking idea. So Stacy would hit the ball, Jennifer would hit the ball, and then Orrin would go up there, and all these men were falling all over themselves to help me because I had no clue what I was doing. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. So there are lots of men at the driving range if you've never been or you've never played golf.
Don't go if you don't want to be with a guy who likes golf.
That's right. If you're
right.
Look, I drove the cart a lot of times when I was dating the guy who was, some of the most beautiful. Yeah, because it's some of the most beautiful property wherever you go on vacation.
Right.
Some of the best property is the golf course. And so, you drive the cart, you bring a snack, he golfs, and you
got the views.
You drive the cart and you see the view and you make out a lot, and that's vacation for you. All right. I want to say hey to Richard. You're so cute. Richard from Facebook says, hi. I didn't realize you're in the UK. You said you two are funny. I don't know what we said that was funny. Thanks for joining us in the UK. I know it's late there, but it's nice to see you, Richard. I know you comment a lot on our Facebook page. So thanks for joining us tonight.
I want to look at Maria's question here. Great. Maria from Peru. She says, I gave all in my previous relationship, but he cheated more than once. I have to learn to trust again. I've never done online dating. Yes. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So step one, Maria, is healing your heart, right? Yep. Because you have to learn to trust again. And part of that is learning to trust yourself.
Yeah.
And part of learning to trust yourself is realizing that when you give everything in a relationship, you are abandoning yourself. And so that's really a place to look about where can you start developing trust. You have to trust that you will be there for you. Lorna talked about practicing receiving earlier. I think this is a good place for you to start.
Yeah.
Right. And really, that forgiveness muscle doesn't mean you forget and you allow him back into your life, but you do need to forgive so that you can let go of the pain and move on.
Yeah, because forgiveness is for you. It sets you free. It cuts you it cuts the cords that energetically tie you to that event and that person.
Yeah.
But you can't rush there either, So I don't know how long it's been, but we're going to send your heart some healing energy and give yourself some time to grieve if it's, more recent. And if it's been a while and you still don't know how to get through the grief, send us an email. We're happy to talk about how we can help you. You can always reach us at you, Maria, or anyone else tonight. You can send an email to support, SUPPORT, at loveonpurpose.com. So you can always find us there. Stephanie says, thank you for the assignment, Orna. You are welcome. I literally went for a walk earlier today. You're going to have to help because that font's too small for me.
I literally went for a walk earlier today and bought myself 2 new pairs of running shoes.
Hey!
This will help build the motivation to get back into the flow of self-care and love.
Yay!
I've been rejecting myself and putting myself on the back burner. I'm really thankful for this beautiful step forward and appreciate your confirmation. So glad you remembered the assignment. Thankful for the permission to allow myself to continue to heal without pressure. I am worth my own attention, reclaiming my power. And in doing so, I will be able to recognize and accept true love that I deserve.
Amen.
You're on the path, Stephanie.
Hey,
you're in the right direction.
I like it.
Yeah, and I want to say this, because this is important. The next step after that, and this is key to everybody, right? The next step after this healing step of reconnecting with yourself and reclaiming your power and learning to receive and all that, the next step is to take action, to start going out there, put yourself on dating sites, to really step up and take action. Because sometimes I think...
regular action.
Sometimes I think when we do the healing work, we go, well, I've done all this healing work. Where's my person? Right? Well, you got to go find them. They're not just going to
go on dates.
You're not going to stumble, on the sidewalk and bump into them accidentally.
And I think, especially for the ladies, because I know all the dating coaches basically say the same thing about letting the guys lead. And so guys, lead if you want a relationship.
Right.
If you're just looking for sex, I don't know, go somewhere else. You're probably not here anyway. So, but for the ladies, here's the thing.
Sex on purpose.
Yeah, not sex on purpose. I would hope people are having sex on purpose. Yeah. Sex by accident. Oops, I slipped in a banana peel.
And had sex.
Something weird happened. Okay. We went off. Sorry. So here's the thing about when dating experts like us say things like, let the guy lead. That doesn't mean you can't initiate a first contact. And I think there's a big misunderstanding around that. So I want to clear that up. Because think about the Old West, right? In the old Western days, a gal would drop her hanky and see what man would come to pick it up. I don't know where the accent came from. So, dropping a hanky can be a lot of different things in today's modern world. It can be sending him a quick note. It can be sending a wink, a rose, a smile, whatever the dating app swiping.
If you're in real life, it would be saying, wow, I like those shoes. Where'd you get them? Right?
Yeah.
Or that shirt that really goes with your eyes.
Yeah,
right?
You can always initiate because...
That's not asking him out on a date.
And IRL, in real life, ladies, everybody knows that you can find people online to go ask out. If you want a guy to ask you out in real life, you've got to kind of make it obvious because they're not subtle. Guys are not subtle. So you have to sort of let them know the water's warm. Yeah. So you might need to talk to them first. You might need to hold their gaze a little longer and smile and take them in a little bit so that they know it wasn't an accident that you caught eyes out in the world. So this is all the important stuff about being open to just meeting people. And I'm going to say this because we are encouraging a lot of dating going on. One of the reasons why we say keep the first meet short is that person's still a stranger. And you may have told a girlfriend or somebody where you're going. Never, ever, ever, ladies, never on a first meet, that is a person's a stranger. Do not go from one location to another. So a lot of times the guy just wants to know that you're really you and you look like that beautiful photo you've got online. And, if there's a connection and he'll be like, oh, there's this, I had plenty of guys do this with me and want to take me to a second location. And you just say, oh gosh, I have another appointment. I only left so much time to meet you today, but I'd really like to see you again. So you're not going to just say no, because then it sounds like you're not interested, right?
You're not going to say no, you might be a creep.
But anybody who has nefarious intentions is going to want to take you from your initial location to a second location. So just don't ever let a complete stranger do that. Don't go to a second location. You won't be in trouble. And the minute, somebody nefarious knows you're not going to go to the second location, they're not going to reach out to you again because they know you're kind of onto them. And you wouldn't have clicked with that person anyway. So we've got another person here. Susan says, thank you for reminding me of what I need to do and get out and being open to meeting whomever. Yes, I used to do this a lot when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, I need to focus more on being clear of what I want and what I really need to create. Exactly. So Susan, taking action is what it's all about. I'm really glad you got that message tonight. And that's how you restore your faith. You get it? Because if you sit around having a pity party, look, that serves a purpose sometimes, right? But you got to wake yourself up out of it. You got to set a timer and go, I'm done feeling bad. And now you go, how do I feel better? You feel better when you take a new action, right? So like getting those running shoes and committing to some kind of self-care action, committing to talking to whoever, getting to know the ladies at the event that you were hoping to meet a guy at. So what? So it's a bunch of women. So what? Make new friends. They all have new friends. They have other people you don't know. They have brothers. They have parents. They have uncles. They have whoever.
Children.
I mean, we have a whole slew of clients right now of ladies in their 70s, right? One of them says, I'm in my third act. And they're so funny because they keep meeting all these younger people. And I'm like, they have parents. They have grandparents. Like, get to know people. Chat with them. They have people they want to set you up with. They really do. And when you're just interested in another person, just get to know them. Who cares? You go to an event hoping to meet a guy. It's a bunch of ladies. Make new friends.
Curiosity is attractive.
Yes.
Anne says, how do you know it's time to start dating again? When restoring your faith after you've gone through a heartbreak. I'm crystal clear. I desire to share my life with my beloved, hence my commitment to coaching with both of you. Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, and because you're coaching with us, I'm going to say we'll deal with that. There isn't a cookie cutter answer to how do I know I'm ready. And so because you've made an investment to coach with us, we'll be guiding you. So there isn't a cookie cutter answer. Like I'm not really just kicking the can down the road. I'm just saying it isn't like, oh, after X days from a breakup, then you should start dating again. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Or, I've healed my heart. Now I'm ready to date, right? So part of it is a sense of wanting, like, oh, I'm ready to go out there. And it's not coming from a place of need, not coming from a place of I'm lonely, not coming from a place of, I'm looking for somebody to fill this hole in my heart, right? That's not the place you want to be thinking about dating. You want to be thinking about dating when you're like feeling good. You want to think about dating in those positive times in your life. I'm sorry, honey, I hit return because I know you can't see.
I know, but I wanted to know if there wasn't a typo, and I was going to move the little box, and then you were all so control freaky with it.
You're so clever. I'm sorry, I hit return. That was the face she gave me. She's like, why did you do that?
Yes, he hit return. So, because I didn't even get to say the thing. Now, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, here's the deal. Because, the linchpin that is holding you back is what we call your love imprint. So, your love imprint is how you learn to receive love in your family of origin. Okay? And it's different for everybody. So, your love imprint is a system. These are your hidden blocks to love. And that system is made up of your limiting beliefs about love. Like, love is for other people, not me, right? That's a limiting belief.
Right. I have to sacrifice for love.
Or one of my limiting beliefs was all men will cheat.
Right.
Because I was cheated on. So, all men will cheat.
One of mine was I'm going to screw it up in love.
Right. All of that. So your limiting beliefs, that's one part of the system. The other part is what we call your mental emotional pattern. Because you have a mental emotional pattern about love, right? So there's a thought and then the feeling. We're getting really deep. Woo, going down the rabbit hole. So here we go. One more part of your love imprint system is your strategies for giving and receiving love. Like I was talking about me earlier about being a puppy. Like, oh, will you love me? Will you love me? Don't you love me? Would you let me have so much love to give? I'm like a little puppy. Right, like that. That's a strategy. Or another strategy we talked a lot about tonight is abandoning, self-abandon, right? Mm-hmm. Giving instead of looking, is not to give to get, which is like a little bit of that when you're like, love me. But there should be an equal give and take, right? We always say a whole and complete person comes together with another whole and complete person and creates a third entity. And that third entity is the relationship. And so each partner in the relationship gets to make deposits and withdrawals from the third entity of the relationship. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say those three things so you hear them all in order. Your love imprint system is made up of your limiting beliefs about love, your mental emotional patterns, and your behavioral strategies for giving and receiving love. For someone, like, to answer Anne's question is, when you've transformed your love imprint, then you're ready to date from a new place. Because if you start dating without transforming those hidden blocks to love, you'll end up back in the same lather, rinse, repeat cycle that you've been in. Now, some people might be like, I haven't been dating at all, so I'm not in a lather, rinse, repeat cycle. And I would say, yes, you are. You're in a lather, rinse, repeat cycle of not dating at all.
Right.
And for other people, they might be like, oh, no, I don't have a pattern. And if we talk to you long enough, we would identify you actually have two patterns that work in concentric circles. And so you do one thing, and then you do the other thing, and then you do the other thing, and then you do that. So they alternate. And so you might have two patterns that trade off. Most people only have one pattern, but here's the deal. We're complex as human beings. And so we make this whole little spider web, in a sense. We weave this web of a love imprint that's blocking us from the love that we truly desire and want. So if you want a diagnosis of what's going on, and you're like, I don't understand, what are these hidden blocks and what could they possibly be? You can't find this on our website, by the way. So it's just for y'all tonight because you joined us. yourloveimprint.com. So www.yourloveimprint, IMPRINT. And that's a one-off session with the two of us. It's private, just the three of us on the line. And we do a love imprint diagnosis. You get a sense of how we work.
You'll get that aha moment that explains why you've struggled. It explains why love hasn't worked for you at this point. And there's something really useful about that, about knowing that. It's like, oh, okay, I get it. And it also directs you about specifically what do you need to work on.
Yep.
And so
and then we
it's
can
invaluable,
about,
right? And we can talk about how we can help you do that, right?
And then we know it's like, I always say it like this. It's like if you had a rash on your arm and you did the telemedicine with the doctor, right? Even if it was on video and you're like, I got this rash, it's itchy, and like you're showing it in the camera, whatever, right? And the doctor's like, I'm sorry, you're going to have to come in. I have to see what it is first, right? And so they're going to want to diagnose what it is and then prescribe something. And so that's really how the Love Imprint session works. We're going to diagnose what are your hidden blocks to love, and then what can you do about them, right? Then there's a prescription that comes. So we'd love, if you're interested in that, it's available for you there at yourloveimprint.com. Something a little that's not just out there on our website. You have to go to that website. yourloveimprint.com. And so that's really the answer to your question, Anne. So we're in the middle of unraveling your love imprint. And so when we get to that tipping point and those hidden blocks aren't the guiding force in your selection process, you'll be dating from a whole new place. Oh my gosh. And it's amazing to watch somebody go through this transformation. It's one of the most fulfilling things. And that's why this is our life's work, because we're here to help you get the love you want. Not just another boyfriend, not just another girlfriend, but somebody to share your life with. And that's what we want for you. We gave you a lot of ideas about how to renew your faith. I hope that you got a lot out of today's love intervention. And I want you to know that we really truly believe there isn't some higher power doling out love to some people and not others. Because if we would have believed that, there's no way we'd be here tonight to help you, because we would have given up. And so it wasn't just something that happened magically one day. It happened very purposefully. And it's right there in the name of our business, creating love on purpose.
So we want to thank our team for helping us out tonight. We're going to be back in 2 weeks for Love Intervention. That'll be April 25th at this same time, same location. Thank you for joining us for Love Intervention, and we will see you soon.
Bye for now. I wanted to see the chat.